Second take out of a log. Inclusion. Spot on. Of course, there's somebody mowing their lawn. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can. It takes everything in your power to do a video, and then you have somebody mowing their lawn. Really? I'm going to attempt this anyway. I don't know about you, but if you grew up with hearing loss, there was a lot of stigma with hearing loss, people who are hard of hearing. At the very beginning of my life, and losing my hearing, I was around, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 4. It was quite the devastation in my family, I guess. I don't know. I mean, my family isn't all open and forward with their emotions or their thoughts or their feelings. So at the very beginning, I was conditioned to fear deaf people. I was told very on, just stay away from them. And of course that caused a little bit of confusion for me, right? I'm like, stay away from deaf people. Why? I remember when I told my deaf teacher about being told by my family member to stay away from deaf people because they were scary and I should fear them. And he was like, laugh, and he put his hand up like this. That was the sign for mischievous, I don't know, evil. They're evil. I was conditioned, I guess, to look and behave like a hearing person. I had to pretend I was something I wasn't. Did you ever feel that? I mean, why be something you are not? Why be something different? I wasn't really considered deaf because I didn't grow up in the deaf culture and learn sign language. I learned to speak, so I had verbal skills and I was able to communicate in that way. That's communicate or signing, whatever. I'll try not to sign too crazy. So I had to look like a hearing person, and I also had to keep my hair down over my ears to hide my hearing aids because of course I'm going to get bullied. I was bullied many times growing up. Yeah, jocks bullied me. I remember getting bullied by a jock in, I think it was middle school or junior high school, and my boyfriend took care of it. But you know what the good thing is that when you are hard of hearing or deaf, whatever you like to call yourself, I'll say hard of hearing or hearing loss in this video. But if you have hearing loss, you're not going to hear all those kids or other people making fun of you because you are too busy being hard of hearing. So what they say doesn't really matter. So on them. So of course many years I learned to be a hearing person, but when in fact I wasn't a hearing person. I was a person with hearing loss. I was hard of hearing. Gosh, I don't know why that was such a problem back then, but back in the 70s, they thought that was just a very bad thing. They go to a deaf school, and I mean, they were even using the term deaf mute at that time, and that faded away. You know, there was a little bit of, confusion between my parents, or arguments, if you will, about whether I should go to a deaf school or not. Now, my mother was a singer. She heard the deaf talk, whatever that means, but I guess there's a voice, and, deaf people talk not as clear as somebody who can speak, whatever, like a hearing person. My mother was a singer, and she heard the deaf talk, and she was not going to have me anywhere near that. But the one good thing I will say about my mother is that she did say, you can do anything you put your mind to. So getting away from my parents and moving out of the house, I was able to do things on my own, perfectly fine. I worked in the hearing world, I got an education, and I do very well for myself. My dog is barking and it's going to make me insane. So when I got out on my own, I learned a little bit more about closed captioning, and I made sure that closed captioning was on my TV. But you know what? When you went out into the public world and TVs and everything, at like a bar or wherever you would go, there was no closed captioning. But of course that's changed because the American Disability Act says, So it's about accessibility, right? You need to have ways to understand and know what's going on with the world around you. You will not believe this, that my hearing aid just died. Or is that just weird? There's my phone going on. Bluetooth hearing aids, wonderful. Of course, then I decided that, somewhere in my 30s that I was going to learn sign language. And so I went to school, to a community college, took some classes. I met the first deaf person in my life, face to face, who was going to teach me how to communicate in sign language. And yes, I was afraid of walking into that room because there was this deaf man, that's a woman, deaf man who was my teacher, and he was going to teach me how to communicate in American Sign Language. And I was like, I like throws. Like, here I am conditioned to be fearful of deaf people. Then I'm supposed to stay away from them. And here is this deaf person going to teach me something that I was forbidden to learn, I guess. And let me tell you, it took a lot for me to look at him, go into that room every day. But you know what? I said, no. I'm going to go into that room and I am going to learn this language and find out what's so bad about deaf people. And, obviously I learned that they're just regular people that communicate in a different language. They have a culture, they have some beliefs and values, just like in my world is being in a hearing world. It was awesome, but it didn't make me delve into the deaf culture and become fluent in sign language. I'm going to stop trying to sign. I wasn't going to get fluent in sign language. I did not grow up learning sign language, and you need to learn it when you're a young kid. My family didn't talk openly about my hearing loss or what I was required to do, and even the audiologist didn't talk to me. They talked to my parents. So I had no idea that I would need to change hearing aids. I had to do ear training, auditory training, and nobody told me what that was about. Let me tell you, I went from analog hearing aids to digital hearing aids. That is completely different. I don't know if you've experienced that, or at that time I had no clue. I was like, what? And I was told I have to go to digital. Wasn't given the choice. I said, I want my analog. Well, we're not going to give you analog. What? I was denied analog hearing aids. Wow. So I have a doctor telling me what I can and can't do. Well, that's his practice. I should have gotten a second opinion, but me, I used to go to the audiologist with my parents, and now here I am going by myself. That's scary. That's scarier than going to see the deaf guy. Going by yourself to go get your new hearing aids. That's going to cost me an arm and a leg. I got the digital, and I had to train my ears to new hearing aids. It's like learning a new language. New sounds you have to interpret and connect the dots, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But I got through it, continued to work, continued on with my life, and that's fine. So every time I have to change a new hearing aid to, whether it's my old hearing aids, which were crossed, which I had a hearing aid in one ear, receiver in the other, and then I went to 2 hearing aids with Bluetooth. It's just so much training you have to do. Your brain gets very, very, very tired. So going back to the whole hearing world, and then you got the deaf world. So what is my identity? I'm hard of hearing. Well, I am considered severe to profound. That leads towards the deaf side, not the hearing side. But I didn't grow up in the deaf world, so I can't identify with them. And hearing world, that's where I grew up, so I identify more with hearing people. But hearing people don't understand my hearing loss. I don't know about you, but hearing people, no matter how many times you tell them that you're hard of hearing, they do not do the things that you ask them to do, even if you repeated them 100 times over. Because they're surrounded by hearing people most of the time, and they don't have to do any of that accommodating. So, of course, I have to go and buy extra stuff. So poor from buying all this technology I have to buy. I have to buy hearing aids, which cost me $6,000. I have to buy a streamer, which cost me another $250. I have to buy a microphone so that I can hear in meetings. That cost me another $150 or something. Add all these different things on top of your hearing aids, which is called assistive listening devices, those extra things that you add onto the hearing aids. The hearing aid doesn't do it all. But then you have to do your visual cues, the eyebrows, lip reading, and the body movements. I already talked about that in my last videos. Always move your body. Be animated. Come on. Stay interesting. Stay interesting. I love it when people talk with their hands. And my husband is very animated. He's always talking with his hand. He says, hi, low. He's sings, and he brings his voice up. He's just wonderful. And he's a comedian, so he likes to make people laugh. I'm trying really hard to stay very Intimidated. Family. Communicate with my family. All I can say can be tough. Friends. My friends are awesome. Like really, my best friend is like ultimate awesome because she has been my biggest advocate. She does everything she can to accommodate me. There are times we would just go out to the bar and there was music playing. We'd be dancing on the dance floor and she would sing away and sing the words out because she knew the freaking words to every damn song out there. It was the weirdest thing. But I loved it because I could read her lips, listen to the music, feel the beat. I was so excited, right? People think that deaf people and people with hearing loss cannot hear music very well. It doesn't matter if you hear it. Music's all about the feeling. I feel music. I can cry in a heartbeat because the music just like goes through my body and it feels awesome. Love it. Love being on the dance floor. Although I suck at dancing. My best friend will also make sure that she always walks on my good side, which is my right ear. She'll repeat things. She's pretty good about that. But then there are situations when we're in a social setting with other people, whether they're friends, acquaintance, whatever you want to call them. But you could be in a group of people, and if I miss something and I say, hey, can you repeat that? They'll be like, oh, it's not important. Not important? I'm not going to swear on this vlog. I tell somebody, please repeat this. This is what you get sometimes.
I like how they did it. They built the wall up, and there's some fish in it. It's full of lily pads and plants. It's kind of interesting how they did it. It would be nice in like a patio backyard or something.
I didn't hear what you said. What kind of pond was it?
Oh, it's not important. It's not worth repeating.
Cry drives me crazy. So then we get down to community. What's going on with the community? Are there associations out there? There's ALDA Association, Adult Late Deafening. There's some other ones out there, but I can't remember them right now because you know what? I haven't gone to one in so long. I have not gone to a conference. I have not gathered with other people with hearing loss for a while. I even went to Gallaudet University and took a peer mentoring certification, which was awesome, by the way. Loved every minute of it. I got so much education. I was educated by audiologists, and it was just phenomenal because they did signing. They made sure that the loop system was all intact, that I could hear everything right to my hearing aid. They gave you handouts, so you had visuals, you could hear things, you could see them. Oh my God, it was just phenomenal. And it was a long time. I had to be there for classes, and I did some studying at home. They gave us home online studying, so it was like kind of a hybrid type of thing. But I actually stayed on Gallaudet University. I actually stayed there a couple times. Stayed there for ASL classes, which is American Sign Language, and then I took this peer mentoring certification. But I'd been there 3 times, and I can't remember what the third reason was. Probably to learn American Sign Language. Oh, I loved every minute of it. I stayed there a whole summer. That's right. I stayed there a whole summer. Yeah. And I stayed in the dorm, so I kind of got that little taste of the deaf life in deaf school. But it's for hard of hearing people too. And there were hearing people there too, right? Yeah, most of the people in my group were hard of hearing. But once you get to that part and you're around people that are hard of hearing, it's a very short time that you're with them, maybe a weekend or maybe a few days. And then you go back to the hearing world. You fall right back to the beginning. You go right back to being that conditioned person you are. Or at least that's what it is for me. I want to tell you what I have experienced and how I feel like this is just this vicious cycle of conditioning to self-learning to battling with people and trying to get them to repeat questions, and then back to the community. You go back out there, but then you get home and it goes back. It's just like this circle. So that's what I think. I think it's just it's a repeating thing. Like it's constantly a battle to try to be accepting of yourself for who you are. Yes, I accept myself for who I am, but I was also conditioned to say that I was a hearing person and to hide my hearing aids and stay away from deaf people. So I was conditioned. So I had to unwire my brain, rewire my brain to not be fearful and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's all these different little things, right? So I had to unlearn all those things. I put my hair behind my ears now. I don't care that you see my hearing aids, but they're also not very visible anymore. Like I don't have these big molds like I used to. But I wear my hair up all the time so you can see my hearing aids behind my ears. And I also talk about it openly now, which is much different. But there there are still times where I'm like, I just don't want people to know that I have hearing loss. I work in the medical profession. What do you think? But working in the medical profession, it's a tough crowd. That's all I'm going to say. I go to work every day. I do my job, and I'm good at it. It doesn't mean that I don't have imposter syndrome from time to time, because I do. And I think everybody does when they start their career where I started my career. I've been in my career for years, but I changed careers. Never mind. Anyway, beginning, middle, and end. So my end is at the community, but it goes right back to the beginning and goes through the cycle over and over again. Beginning, middle, and end. Back to the beginning. Can you please tell me your experiences? Because I'd love to know. I might be telling you how I feel, what have I experienced, and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to be the only one that's experiencing this, because I know if you have hearing loss, you've probably experienced something different than me, or something very similar to me. Maybe you have hearing loss later in life. It was progressive, or it was sudden. I don't know. Tell me anything. Anything you want to share. What pisses you off? What frustrates you? What makes you happy? What are the good and bad? All those things. It'd be nice to know what other people are thinking. Even though I've talked to other hard of hearing people, it's always good to get another point of view, a different perspective. So tell me, I want to be included. Is the reason why I did this blog. Inclusion is really important. I want to be included in everything, like everything. Don't tell me to fear anybody. Deaf people are fine. They're great. Hearing people are fine. They're great. But people that are living in between both worlds, they're fine too. I'm not going to behave like a hearing person. I live in the hearing world, and I am hard of hearing. That's just my identity. Now, give me my damn captions. Let me use sign language when I want to, and have fun gesturing. Go there. Hello. What's up? Always training your ears. Gotta always train to listen. Listen deeply. Listen, listen, listen. Just repeat yourself. Rephrase the question. Don't give me shit. Keep the mouth moving. Keep the eyes moving. Only marry somebody that totally gets you. Only be best friends with people who only get you. If you want to be part of the community stuff, I don't know, go to Gallaudet University, whatever it may be, enjoy it, and repeat from the start again. Condition, people, condition, self-learning, people, community. Back to the beginning again. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. See ya.